All right, guys, Rich, Chris, Dave, we've asked our viewers, so we'll ask all of you. Most pressing need the Reds have to fill before the break, or is it just simply a matter of getting some people healthy, like a Marshall, like a Broxton?
If they could play third base, that would be a good thing. It would help to get them back. There's no question about it. But obviously, it's the lineup that needs a jolt. And really, I wish Todd Frazier was better, and maybe he's best served being a first baseman a day a week, being a third baseman a day a week, being a left fielder 2 days a week, coming off the bench. Right now, to me, you need a third baseman who can hit with some pop, and unfortunately, Todd Frazier's just not doing that.
Dave, most pressing need at this point?
I think just to get healthy. They've got the horses in the bullpen. They got to get Broxton and Marshall back. They need to get Ludwig back, and he will be back. And I think the big thing is they're 5.5 out. Both Pittsburgh and St. Louis. St. Louis had their run early in the season and played great. Pittsburgh's playing great right now. The Reds haven't had that streak where they've gotten hot. To me, it's getting hot at the right time, and you want to be hot late, and I think they're fine.
Chris, the Ludwig thing is huge because they essentially haven't had him all season long. Is that a big? I mean, how big is that?
Well, you're not talking. You're talking about multi-facets on this. Losing Ryan Ludwig, loses a leader in the lineup, loses a middle of the order bat, and you know his absence. You know now you have Xavier Paul and Robinson playing a lot, and they're not bad players, but there's too much responsibility on those guys. Missing Eric Ludwig has been a big part of. Or Ryan Ludwig has been a big problem.
The one thing, though, I mean, he's never been. He had a 37 home run year one year, but he's never been a huge middle of the lineup guy. He had a couple months last year. I think we're banking on him coming back, being the guy of last year. You're asking a guy to come back in the last 4 or 5 weeks and
knows how to win, though.
He does know how to win, and I will tell you, Chris, what you said is right. I mean, in the locker room, they don't have a guy like that. They have nobody like that.
I mean, this guy's won.
Right.
I mean, he really has. Manny Parra, pitching quite well of late, just a third of an inning today, but over his last 7 innings, he's been real effective. Now they're going to move Cingrani back into the rotation with the Cueto injury. I mean, what type of problems, Dave, does this really set up?
Well, I think the big thing for them is Cueto's got to be healthy and pitch like a #1. And when you look at their rotation, they're not going to win the division, win the playoffs, and get to the World Series without Cueto. I mean, you can't bank on Cingrani. He's a young kid. And he's a kid that's supposed to learn how to pitch this year in the minor leagues. You can't ask him to come up here and lead this club because that's not going to happen. To me, the big thing is Cueto. Cueto's got to be healthy, and he's got to pitch like a #1 for the rest of the year.
Well, you both played, and when you have that nagging injury early in the season, it's almost like a turf toe. You can play through it, but it really won't heal unless you have a nice offseason of rest. Is that what he's going through right now?
It seems to be because, you know, last year it surfaced for the first time in the playoffs at the most inopportune time, and he just has not been able to string together a whole lot of starts. And, you know, obviously this team is built around Cueto and Latos going into a playoff series. There's no question about it. Can Homer Bailey step up? Sure. But when you have those two horses, you need them both there. And, you know, quite frankly, it's putting a strain on the bullpen and Broxton and Marshall being done, you know, and not really contributing much of this year. It's been a real strain on the whole pitching staff.
Mike Leake pitched really well last night. They had to have it at that point in time. Latos pitched well today. Obviously took the loss as a result of not getting a lot of support from the lineup. Is there an all-star among those two, you think?
It is funny because I don't think both of them make it. And if you were to pin me down for one of them, I'd almost flip a coin because they've both been good in different ways, and obviously Leake's been better of late. But Latos has been the most consistent of the two from the get-go. He is arguably right now one of the top 5-7 starters in the National League. To me, he'd be the guy. But boy, Leake, the way he's thrown the ball here the last 2 months, he's got to be in the conversation to make the team.
Yeah, 9 strikeouts today. Would you go with one or the other? Which do you like?
I'd go with Latos. I mean, Latos, when he's right, I agree with Skin. He's one of the best in the game. 2 starts ago, he punched out 13 guys. I mean, that tells you how good he is. You strike out 13 guys in a big league ball game, that means you've got outstanding stuff.
Oh, and to build on that, Collie, you know, Latos, I agree, is the all-star, but where would this team be, the Reds be, without Mike Leake and his contributions? Right. You know, he's the 5th starter.
Yeah, Chris, don't forget, they almost sent him down and kept Cingrani up in his place, for goodness sakes. That's how good he's been the last 2 months.
So Latos, all-star, but where, you know, Leake has been an integral part about keeping this team afloat and in the race.
7-3, could have been 8 last night with a no decision, and boy, they really had to have a good start from him last night, no question about it. Between Todd Frazier, Jack Hanahan, not a lot of pop coming off the hot corner. What can they do there? I mean, you mentioned earlier.
The only thing you can do is you can hold your breath, you can platoon them, you can maybe hope Frazier snaps out of it. I mean, we're halfway through now, and it's not like you got a lot of things to bank on with Todd Frazier. You've got last year, his technical rookie year, if you will, and there's a lot of guys that swing the bat well their rookie year. He's either not made adjustments, people have adjusted to him. To me, you have to look long and hard. The problem is there's just not a lot out there. Do you want to bring on a Ramos Ramirez in his contract? Because that's kind of what you'd be looking at right now.
All right, Dave, we'll do these quickly. Reds record right now better at this time than it was last year at this time. No trouble in paradise just yet?
I don't think so. I mean, they're 5.5 out, and they haven't gotten hot yet. They haven't had their big run, and I think the key to them having a big run is the Reds, for whatever reason, they don't play good, fundamental execution baseball. They don't know how to win those 2-1, 3-2 games, bunt the guy over, get him in with 1 out. They haven't shown to do that consistently, and that to me is their Achilles heel.
And it's surprising because defensively they've been second best, but the last couple of weeks they've been struggling on that side of the baseball as well. Guys, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.